Clark County Public Defender's Office for Mr. McGrath.
Hello, is this Holly Lake?
Who is this, please?
This is Christopher Luth. I live a block up the road from you. And I noticed we got 2 letters today, one from you and one from the probation office.
Hold on, Chris. Just a moment.
Hey, how are you doing? I got some letters in the mail from you today, along with the probation office. Coincidentally, about 3 days after I tried to file charges on the Blankenship family's mentally disabled offspring coming to my home to start a harassment. So I guess this is in retaliation. You guys decided to letter bomb my house.
I didn't decide anything. I sent you a letter as your attorney. If you don't want me to be your attorney, you can fire me, but then you have to represent yourself, and that's your choice. But right now, I'm your attorney. I'm trying.
Yeah, that's the unfortunate conclusion I've come to, is the fact that you're overlooking almost a decade worth of harassment at my home, simply so you can make a determination of court to call me crazy. You allow the prosecutor to call in policemen to sit on the stand to answer as to why I didn't answer my door as evidence. And I'm not allowed to call anybody.
No,
this is absolutely ridiculous.
Here's the thing. You and I never spoke before trial because you refused to talk to me.
It's not worth my time. Now that you've aligned yourself with the Clark County Probation Department, now that you've aligned yourself with the District Attorney's Office.
I haven't aligned myself with anybody except you, and you don't understand that.
Well, you've rebranded yourself as just another cog in this little bureaucracy in town, and you're operating on behalf of the probation office and not on behalf of your clients.
Well, here's what I'm telling you. You have a sentencing hearing. The judge is going to sentence you. Now, you may like that. You may not like that. That's not my concern. My concern is that's going to happen. I'm trying to get you whatever it is that you would like as a result. I'm trying to get that for you. Right now, I don't know what you want as the result. Having 400 witnesses or 3 years or 50 years worth of complaints that you have is not getting anywhere toward.
No, but you'll allow the prosecution to parade every policeman in town onto the bench with some gossip or slander they have to use against me because you're trying to influence the jury.
Okay, first of all, there were 2 trials. The first one, not guilty. The second one, guilty. So whatever you think happened, it happened in 2 trials. And one was not guilty, and one was guilty.
Well,
so
the jury doesn't know that. You never did bring up the first trial in the second one, so they have no idea what the backstory was to that.
It doesn't matter that's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is that the jury made the decision. The witnesses that were called to testify were witnesses to the incident or talked to you about the incident. That's
right, and the sheriff's deputy that served the warrant to get me into court, he wasn't a member of this instance. He's just some asshole.
I don't know what you're talking about, the warrant to get you into court.
Yeah,
What are you referring to? You're talking about when you failed to appear in court?
No, there was no failure to appear. There was a civil warrant.
You're talking about when there were when you got arrested for 2 different charges.
He served a civil warrant at my house to get me into Judge Lewis's court, so they could get a order of protection on me, so they could send me over to a felony court to take advantage of me over there. After the guy came to my house and stopped in front of my house to cause an argument at my home. That's what really happened.
First of all, nothing happened in this case in front of Judge Lewis.
Judge Lewis was the man that ordered the order of protection.
That happened, yes.
Yeah.
The order of protection happened.
None of Judge Lewis's testimony that happened during that order of protection hearing even entered into trial. No, but we had a court reporter there that was taking stenography, and none of that was even bothered to be entered into evidence. His own words against me was being used against me by another lawyer in town, and you didn't even bother to do your due diligence at the county clerk's office.
What county clerk has nothing to do with this? What lawyer in town are you referring to?
You.
Okay, what did I not do?
The civil action was against me in Judge Lewis's court. And
you know that. You know I didn't represent you in the civil case, so I had nothing to do with that case.
Well, that's why there was a civil case, was so I could be taken advantage of without a lawyer in Lewis's court.
I don't know what you're talking about.
And then kick it over into Judge Retch's court to prosecute.
You had a right to an attorney.
No, it's not. It's a down-home scam. We know it is. I mean, after 6 years, it's not hard.
Fine.
It's not hard to prove because I have dozens of videos against you guys.
What do you want the judge to do next week? Or on your sentencing hearing? What do you want the judge to do on your sentencing?
I want you to enter a motion of a mistrial because you guys are trying to enter into evidence medical determinations from 2 separate doctors against me to influence a judge's verdict without me having the opportunity to cross-examine these people.
First of all, that's not a mistrial because that's not about the trial.
It's a loophole you're using to admit evidence after a trial to influence a judge's verdict, and that's illegal.
The judge ordered that there be a pre-sentence report. Judge ordered that. I didn't order that.
All you got to do is have Blankenship call this guy on the telephone and gossip for a half an hour to get whatever verdict you want from this doctor. And that's what you did.
I don't know what
this doctor is calling me delusional and paranoid.
I never spoke
because
to
I'm sitting here hiding in my home getting harassed by people outside.
Okay,
and I'm filming it.
What is it that you want?
I'm filming the assaults that you guys choose to overlook so you can get this bullshit determination against me in a court.
What is it that you want the judge to do? Do you want to be sentenced to jail? Do you not want to be sentenced to jail? Do you want probation? Do you want conditional discharge? Do you want supervision? Those are the options.
Well, we know the backstory. You've also included.
I don't care about backstories. I'm asking you a specific question. What do you want the judge to do?
I want supervision without fine.
Okay, you want supervision without jail, right?
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for telling me that because I will argue for that. Okay. But that's something I can't argue until you tell me.
This order of protection that Judge Lewis gave me was simply out of retaliation for all the other times he's seen me in his court. Everybody knows that the Mensners are one of the people that are harassing our home.
I don't care.
And I refuse to go to jail as an innocent man and go on to probation to be harassed by the Blankenships. Because they're coming to my house to harass me.
Do you want to testify at sentencing, or do you want to make a statement in allocution? Those are your 2 options. You can testify and be cross-examined, or you can make a statement in allocution where you don't get cross-examined. So if you want to testify...
Well, the last time we went to court, I left a cell phone with Sheriff Parsley downstairs, and I recorded a half an hour worth of video of the sheriff's department taking the phone up to the district attorney's office and slandering me at the district attorney's office. And then he took the phone to the jail, and then he gossiped with me over at the jail while they were trying to search my phone illegally as I was sitting in the court. So, at this point, I know this is just a game you guys are playing to harass the niggers in your town.
You keep putting me in that sentence. I have nothing to do with that. That's the court security.
Well,
because you're not supposed to record
You've rebranded yourself as the Clark County Public Defender's Office, so now that you're wearing the mantle of the Clark County, then it includes you into the same family bureaucracy we got running the courthouse.
I have nothing to do with the family bureaucracy that you're referring to. I don't live in this town. I don't have anything to do with anybody that's related to anybody in this town.
To further harass the people that live here because you are now a part of Clark County's little
I'm not part of anything. Here. I represent you. I've always represented you. You don't understand that. That's what I did the first time you went to trial. That's what I did this time when you went to trial.
Your secretary lives a block up the street, and for her to sit here and play dumb, and for her to sit here and play silly games with the probation department is an outrage. It's a slap in the face.
She spent no time with the probation office on your case.
Well, I find it odd that both of these come in the same day.
Well, that's your choice to make odd decisions. I sent you a letter, and I stated in the letter what the purpose of that letter was.
Yeah.
It did not say that I was in cahoots with anybody.
We continued the case because you were waiting on
You have sent me email after email after email. You've been involving me with all these other people.
Medical determination that you required in order to get the verdict you wanted from the judge. That's what we were waiting on.
I didn't get a verdict I wanted from the judge.
We were waiting. We had a continuance so that you could reach out to this man and further harass him until he finally gave you the information you needed to excuse yourself while you passed this faulty judgment against me.
You're talking about Dr. Boyd?
Yes.
I had nothing to do with that. I didn't particularly want the report, but the judge ordered it.
Well,
so what am I supposed to do? The judge ordered it. I can't stop him from ordering it.
I'm trying to figure out now how we went from a mental health evaluation that's normally done at the HRC now to include the VA department and to include another psychologist when it should have probably just been the HRC. You're actually elevating me into a position where you can call me a public enemy, and you're using all of these official bureaucrats to come in now and provide testimony after a trial so you can glean the verdict from a dirty judge in town that suits your purposes instead of what the state of Illinois actually wants.
Nothing suits my purposes except to represent you, which is what I'm trying to do.
Well, you're certainly not a civil rights attorney, are you? You're certainly not in civil rights. No. You're doing the basic minimum you're going to do in order to...
No. You're misunderstanding my role. I don't represent you on any matter that isn't court appointed. That's the rule. And that's a very hard and fast rule. I represent people when they get charged with a crime and request an attorney.
Unfortunately, Kyle Hudson is not playing by the rules because he's allowing jurors now to sit on a jury that he's used in past scams.
No one was allowed on a jury that was improper.
No, but we allowed the judge to sit there and gossip and humiliate me prior to trial just by getting to know the jury. He provided his own testimony before the trial even started. And one of those ways was by allowing Terry Stepp, or Todd Stepp, whoever his name is, he's a Stepp. He's related to my neighbors and in their harassment at our home. And he was used in the past to influence a wrongful arrest that you guys used to prosecute me onto probation.
He was not a juror.
The damage was done.
He was not a juror.
Kyle Hudson knew he had past involvement, which was why he was included. Another person that was included was Kelly Hargis, and she is the mother of a child that my girlfriend is a godmother of. So now not only are we trying to slander me in front of the jury, but we're trying to call people onto the jury that can humiliate me now privately.
Okay, stop. Are you talking about a juror that served or a jury that was excused?
I don't think she ever made it on to the question
because so the point is, do you know how juries are selected? They're selected randomly from registered voters in the county of Clark. That's how they're picked.
I don't think so.
There's a number that's given each time we go to court. That's the number of people who could be jurors. They're called randomly to come in.
I think you have a pool of names, and you allow Kyle Hudson and his staff to cherry pick the people they wanted to call into court that day.
Wrong. That's completely wrong.
There's no way the two people that were called to the jury
no person was brought in that jury inappropriately. And you had a choice and a chance to dismiss people. And they were dismissed. So it's not a question of somebody doing something wrong at the trial with the jury. That did not happen. I was there the entire time. There was no improper influence by any individual on that jury.
I don't even think you bothered to get up out of your chair to argue my case.
Well, you're wrong. You're wrong. So you can think whatever you like, but I know what happened, and you are the one that has to face the responsibility of not talking to me before the trial. You deliberately refused to talk to me on several occasions.
That's the problem. We allow these harassments to occur at my house so that police can
decide whatever you want is the reason, but I'm
every
saying
time I call the police, I
get
no response whatsoever, and I'm actually forced to file a report that gets denied.
I don't have anything to do with that. I have nothing to do with that. It's not my responsibility what goes on between you and somebody outside of the courtroom.
Of course, and that's the beauty of this whole scam now, is because you can sit back and you can deny that any wrongdoing has occurred because you refuse to get involved in the instigation or the investigation.
I don't have any responsibility to curtail what you consider to be the doings of everybody in town. I have no responsibility on that.
There's criminal activity involved to influence an arrest.
Doesn't matter. I don't have any responsibility for any of that.
Inform you that criminal activity occurred in order to put me into handcuffs, and the fact that you're denying any criminal activity happened means that you're doing the job of a policeman, and the judge is doing the job of a policeman. And
I'm not doing that job.
We're just allowing these false arrests to influence your court trials.
I will ask the court for court supervision and no jail. I will tell the judge that we spoke briefly, and that you did not want to testify, and that you did not want to make a statement in allocution. Now, is that correct or is that incorrect?
Oh, no. I want to talk to the judge. If he's going to, the judge is going to sentence me to the maximum amount of jail time because he wants to send a message that we don't allow kids to come into the courthouse and harass our sheriffs.
I'm going to tell you right now that you have the absolute right to a statement in allocution, and I'm not going to tell you not to do it.
Well, you've even allowed the emails I sent to a general contact email address to be admitted into evidence for sentencing it against the judge. You violated my civil rights.
I didn't do anything.
Incredibly much over the last 6 years to get me into the courthouse.
I didn't do anything to get you in the courthouse. I don't want you in the courthouse.
Don't blame me.
I don't want clients. I don't want people arrested because then that's more work for me. I don't want it.
Like I said, I've got telephone evidence from a sheriff's deputy slandering me to the district attorney's office.
Me.
So it's all a game to get me in there at this point.
That's not
and
me.
It's your responsibility to sit back and refuse to assist me and then hide it behind whatever professionalism or ethics you think you might have.
First of all, the charge was brought against you, and it was very clear why it was brought against you. There was a video that showed why it was brought against you.
There was a surveillance video that was captured of them surveilling my home, hoping that they could have an attempt to bring a man to my house, to instigate an argument, talk shit to me in front of my house, and then arrest me by the same fucking policeman that's going to be involved in the next court case that you claim here, where there's still a pending case involving a call in the 911 office. Guess who that was involved? Officer McKillop. He's made a number of wrongful arrests now. He's arrested me for littering a shit bag.
Whether he made a wrongful arrest or something, I'm not responsible for it.
Well, that's the problem. See, now we're going to be into another court case where you've allowed this officer to misconduct himself to the point where I'm forced to scream and shout on the telephone because you refuse to allow me the opportunity to talk before you interrupt. So now we're in an instance now where I'm forced to dial 911 to make a 911 call, and you can't even allow me the opportunity to make the goddamn call.
I don't have anything to do with that.
Here we go again.
Came down.
Who else are you going to blame? If it's not your fault, then whose fault is it? Mine?
It's 911's fault. And then, no, it's not my responsibility to figure out whose fault it is. Here's what I can tell you. That case you got charged with, it was charged as a felony. I said to the state, this is not a felony. And they said, okay, it's not a felony. And they made it a misdemeanor. That's the first thing I did. The second thing is, we haven't had a trial on that yet. I agree with you.
You should have had the case thrown out before the charges were filed, because now it's going to follow me. Now they're going to use it as an instance to influence a judge the same way they're doing now. Because a part of this sentencing packet that you sent to the judge was all these bogus wrongful arrests in the past that I was able to prove that I wasn't responsible for.
I did not send that to the judge.
So now that's going to be used against me, when it should have never got that far. The charges should have never been filed. But you refused to listen to me before the trial. And you allowed it to go for years before I finally was able to see a judge, because you kept continuing the case month after month after month to allow these neighbors to continue to harass my home month after month after month, hoping that you could put me in a situation where you could put me into a jail, take my bond away, and just leave me there.
I didn't do anything. I didn't do any of that. I didn't get involved in the 911 case until after it was filed. I could not get it stopped before it was filed. I don't get involved in cases until they're filed. I don't sit around saying, oh, I think somebody's going to get charged. I better go talk to the state about it. I don't do that. I get assigned a case, I look at the case, I move on it. What I did in that case is I said, this is not a felony, and they agreed. So that's the very first thing I did. It's still pending. I think a trial is going to be hard for the state in that case. But that's not my responsibility right now. Right now, we have one case
a report on my
where you have a sentencing hearing. We have one case with sentencing hearing. And I'm going to ask the judge for court supervision and no jail, because that's what we just talked about. You're going to make a statement in elocution. That's your right. I don't think it will help you, but that's my opinion. You have the absolute right to do it. So that's where we are. We have a sentencing hearing.
Well,
I will ask the judge for court supervision and no jail. I will tell him that you want to make a statement in elocution, and that's what I will do. And that is how I will get ready for that hearing, because your desire to have everything in your life brought to bear on this is not my desire. I'm not going to put everything about your life in front of the judge.
I don't think everybody that's hurt you. This has happened now because I tried to walk my dog around the neighborhood, and the little petty criminals and meth felons that live in the area use that as an opportunity to harass and shame me. And they've done everything they can. They've called me every name in the book, hoping to get an unfair advantage against me using the nasty police we have in town. And since I've been upset with the police before, they get to play the good guy, bad guy game.
I read the doctor's report.
Yeah.
It said you're paranoid. It says that you come up with things that are based on paranoid. That sounds like paranoia to me, but I'm not an expert.
That sounds like you're refusing.
So I'm not going to go there.
It sounds like you're refusing to investigate the claims I have. You're refusing to.
The claims you have nothing to do with this case, and that's what I've told you from the very beginning. It does not matter whether somebody did something to you 5 years ago.
It's better to keep my mouth shut when it comes time to defend myself, because if I open my mouth, you're just going to call me crazy, and you're going to marginalize or trivialize whatever evidence I have in front of the judge, because it's not the same verdict that you want to get from the prosecution.
You threw a water bottle at a truck that was pulling across the street.
I threw a water bottle at my trash can that was parallel to Ash Street. You can see it in the video. The guy pulled up at the corner of 13th and Ash. I was all the way in my yard by my front door. I picked up
outside
a water bottle from my front yard, and I chucked it at the trash can that was sitting by the park.
No,
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, because that evidence should have been thrown out. It should have been thrown out to begin with, and you didn't even bother. You allowed it to be entered into evidence so you could assist Kyle Hudson in getting the determination he wanted, because I've pissed you off enough times in the past where you're willing to put your ethics aside and allow Kyle Hudson to walk all over me in a courthouse.
Did you listen to anything I said in court? Did you listen to any of it? Because if you did, you'd know that I didn't agree to anything he said. I said it was not what he said it was. I said it was not a crime.
It's about sneaking illegal evidence into court, past the judge,
need you to tell me anything about my
that
representation.
the
I know exactly what happened. I'm more than confident that I did a good job.
Are me getting assaulted into handcuffs, and their videos are actually they're out here trying to catch a predator. Is what they're doing. They're playing this game where they're surveilling my home now and forcing me into my home, and I can't leave my home now because all my neighbors are playing this disgusting game with you people. It's disgusting.
Well, you left it to get into an accident.
I'm not paranoid. I'm being assaulted by every goddamn person in the neighborhood, and you're kicking back and not doing shit about it. You're allowing this to happen so you can call me crazy. You're letting all these people come to my neighborhood and attack the nigger that you don't want in your town. And you're using police to do it now.
I don't have an interest in anybody living in this town. I don't live here.
There was a guy last night that stopped at my house, honked and honked, tried to get my attention from inside the home.
I don't care.
You don't care.
It doesn't have anything to do with this case. No, I don't care. Now, if this person said, I lied on the witness stand during the trial that just happened, I'd be interested. But unless there's some direct connection to the case...
Well, this isn't about lying. This is about you and Kyle Hudson.
I'm not interested.
Creating an alternative truth that you can pass off to a jury claiming that I'm guilty of some crime, when all it is just me having my rights cruelly violated to the point where you can allow this instance to happen in the court. Because we all know it's martial, it's a rush to court.
Here's the bottom line. The judge read everything in that report, including your emails. So he will know that you have a bitch about everybody in town. He'll know that. But go ahead and do your allocation.
He should, like I said, that should... This packet that you've created to give to the judge after the trial.
I haven't created anything.
It was meant to discredit me. It was meant to make me look like a fool after a trial.
I have not created anything.
And those emails were meant to go to the district attorney's office to show him all of these videos that I'm taking where I'm getting assaulted, my home's getting assaulted, and the police aren't doing anything about it. Instead of using that as an opportunity to make things better in the neighborhood, to improve our police department, to make sure I'm getting the adequate protection for my home that everybody else gets, what do? You do the exact fucking opposite. You allow that to be entered into evidence against me, calling me crazy, because we all know there's nothing wrong with our town. This is exactly what we need to do to harass these niggers into a jail cell.
What are you referring to? Are you referring to the video that was presented at trial? Or are you talking about some other video? Because the video that was presented at trial
I think what I'm talking about is how you guys feign ignorance to excuse your incompetence, your negligence,
I don't feign anything,
your professional misconduct.
Secondly, you don't have any idea what you're talking about.
The only way to excuse your bad conduct is to say you don't understand, or that I'm crazy, or that I'm gay, or that I'm a sex predator. And that's just the only way you can excuse this. At this point,
I didn't say that. I didn't say any of those things.
You call me paranoid, schizophrenic, when there's absolutely nothing wrong with me. I spend every other day trying to get help from the VA just to assist with the pain and suffering that these people are causing me. And instead, you use that as another excuse to claim that I'm crazy, so you can get the verdict that you want.
What's going to happen in court?
The judge is going to give me the maximum sentence. He's going to sentence me to 6 months in jail. I'm going to force to pay thousands of dollars to a sheriff's department who's laughing and playing this game behind our backs now. And I'm going to be forced onto probation where a Blankenship is going to be cruelly harassing me using her dirty badge the same way her mentally handicapped family has been abusing my home and abusing me on social media for the past 2 years. That's what's going to happen.
So
that's how nasty this little town is that you're allowing these people, even the prosecutor has assaulted me in the past with a deadly weapon.
That's so old.
And has put me in an emergency room for stitches.
How long ago was that?
Junior high, I think. Junior high.
Okay, so he was under 10, under 12, under 15. How old was he at the time?
I don't know. He was on private property. He was at my home when he did it.
Okay, so whatever you think happened that many years ago has nothing to do with, first of all, with what I do, which is to represent clients. It has nothing to do with that.
It's about creating
Secondly,
bias.
it doesn't have anything to do with this case.
Hide it behind your professional misconduct. That's all it is. It's about people that have a perverted knowledge of me prior to trial, that are influencing actions that will put me into a trial situation so I can be taken advantage of. And it's obvious because the last 6 years, since 2018, ever since Kyle got elected, it's been nothing but frivolous litigation for the last 6 years. And it's something to be such a joke now that these people actually come to my home and they try to instigate an instance at my home where you guys can drag me out of my house and claim I've done something wrong so you can litigate against me in court, in your little kangaroo courthouse.
I don't do any of that. I don't do any of that. Maybe somebody does, but I don't. Here's what I know. You talk to Mr. Meister.
Your secretary lives one block up the road, and even she's playing dumb.
You talk to him.
She's playing stupid.
That's what the jury convicted you of. It's as simple as that. And you don't like it, but that's what it is.
What it is you tricking me into court, and
I didn't trick anybody into court. I don't want anybody in court. So I didn't trick you into anything. I don't have any connection to what you think is trickery.
Well,
that's not me. You're putting me in a group of people that I'm not part of. I have nothing to do with the prosecution of cases. If I did, there wouldn't be any because I'd dismiss them all. Because I don't want any of my clients to be convicted. But instead, I represent clients.
This isn't about petty drug use. This isn't about burglary. It's
about violation of order of protection is what it is.
This is about people physically assaulting me in the road and then calling the police so I can be framed for a heinous felony where you can put me away. And when I started using video evidence to prove that these assaults weren't my fault, then you turned to the dispatch and the police now to provide their own evidence against me because we've already proven that the evidence you're receiving from the witnesses for the prosecution is bogus. So now I've got another court case and another month from now where I'm going to be tricked into chains so I can be paraded into a courthouse in chains to answer for the fact that I was refused service for a 911 call that I made to the same officer that's refused service to me in the past and who's using this as a game now so she can harvest her own criminal charges against me the same way the Blankenship lady in the probation office is doing with these mental health examinations. I know exactly what's going on here.
No, you don't. You have no clue.
No,
but here's the bottom line here. I'm not interested in anything regarding any case other than the one I represent you on in court for the sentencing hearing, period. I am not interested in everything else. You can have whatever you believe is the world's weight of
and that's the problem. You allow these litigations
that's not what
to
I have
occur
anything
over
to
the
do
last
with.
10 years to the point where I'm no longer able to take care of myself. I don't have a job to support myself. So how do you think I'm going to get a lawyer that's actually going to litigate on my behalf? And that's the problem. You allow this to happen, so I'm dumped into your lap, and you're able to refuse service because you're just a public defender now who's not going to do your due diligence to help me prove to the judge that this just isn't a situation that's an isolated incident now. But there is instances in the past where these same individuals have tried in the past to do this same harassment. And it failed for them in the past. So they were allowed to keep harassing and instigating these arguments till they were finally able to cultivate a case where you could take advantage of me in court. And that's exactly what's happened.
I didn't take advantage of you at all. You threw the water bottle. You talked to Mr. Meiser. That's why you got it. That's the bottom line. You don't like it, that's fine.
I was on my own property. I can throw whatever I want at my trash can. I was on my own fucking property. Fuck him. He lives across the street. What is he doing at my house? If I'm the fucking predator, why is he at my house harassing me and instigating me into an argument?
Okay, the
you
jury
completely glazed over half the case because you claim you're not involved. So You're excusing yourself from properly representing your clients.
Wrong.